This is the Kitchen Sink WP podcast, episode 607.
I program my home computer.
We have a server crash, 404 error, page not found, links aren't working, system is crashing, system is crashing, system is crashing.
Your old HTML website, barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website, better than it was before. Better, stronger, faster. We have the technology. The technology.
Hello, everybody. This is Adam Silvey, host of the Kitchen Sink WP podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. All right, upcoming events. There are a lot of upcoming events next weekend, and actually starting the day this drops on the 13th of October, 2025. All Things Open here in Raleigh, North Carolina, the ATO conference. It's an open source conference. I've been a few times. Really cool, really big. It's down in Raleigh. So 13th and 14th. I will be there actually the 14th. So if you are in the area by chance, let me know. We can always hook up and say hi. Also, next weekend, so we have WordCamp Canada 2025, October 15th, 16th, and 17th. That's up in Ottawa. We have WordCamp Islamabad, October 18th and 19th. WordCamp DHAKA, October 18th and 19th. WordCamp Guatemala, October 18th, single day. WordCamp SKOPJE, October 18th. That is in the Republic of Macedonia. I had to look that up. And lastly, WordPress Diversity Day, October 18th in Valencia, Spain. So there's a lot going on, most of it outside of the United States, Canada, North America. That's cool. So if you're in the parts of the world, you should go. Have a great time. Say hi to people that I might know. I don't know. All right, moving on. Segment 1 in the news. One thing to talk about here, back in June, WordFence received a submission through the bug bounty program about an authentication bypass vulnerability in the Service Finder bookings. It's a plugin that's bundled with Service Finder as a theme. Apparently, it's been sold to 6,000 customers. It's pretty bad. It was a pretty bad vulnerability. Link in the show notes. Apparently, it has been patched, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I think at this point it's been patched because otherwise it wouldn't have published all this information. So if you're using that, if you know someone who is, definitely get that updated and checked out. All right, so that is it in the news. Yeah, that's it in the news. All right, moving on. Segment 2. It's been 8 weeks, so that means, yes, of course, it's questions and answers. I have about 3, 4. I have a handful of questions here sent in by you, the listeners, starting with Jennifer, who writes in, what is a runbook? And that's a great question. It's a fancy term, not a fancy term. It's just another term for this. A runbook is basically a how-to guide for repeating technical tasks. Things like updating software, changing configurations, renewing SSL certs. It's just a step-by-step document that helps anyone on the team, whether new or experienced, handle the basic routine operations that IT would do. It's kind of like a recipe. Follow the steps, you get the same reliable result every time. Why do they call it a runbook? I don't know, but I mean, a lot of people just call it a process sheet, but the runbook is what it's called. So great question. Thanks, Jennifer. So there you go. And by the way, I've heard that before way back. Haven't heard it in a very long time. So that's why I put it in this one. All right. This one is sent in by Joel. How many plugins is too many? Well, standard WordPress answer, it depends. I mean, 10 great plugins can run smoother than 3 terrible ones, right? I think that's very true. It's not really about how many you have. It's about which ones you have. So you want to think of plugins like toppings on a pizza. A few good ones make it amazing, but you pile on everything from anchovies to pineapple. I make that noise for the anchovies. I personally, I'm going to upset half the people here. I like pineapple on pizza. I do. I like the Canadian bacon and pineapple. Anyway, things can get messy, obviously, if you have bad plugins. So you want to test them, keep them updated, delete the junk, only install what actually adds value. Quality here beats quantity every time when it comes to plugins. Now, I have seen sites run with 3, just fine. I've seen sites run with 30. Again, if you're running like an e-commerce site or a membership site, you're going to probably need a lot more than not, because those type of sites and services require to have those add-ons. Okay. So again, if you can't name what the plugin does when you see the list of it, in your dashboard, it might be time to let it go. If you just installed a plugin and it did something weird, maybe for the holidays or the snow on the website, it might be time to go ahead and remove that. So it's not about quantity, it's about quality. Make sure you have good, solid plugins that are updated and secure. Okay. Great question, Joel. Thanks. All right, moving on. This one is by Amanda. How do agencies handle plugin or core updates without breaking live sites? Fantastic question. Really is a good one. So at a good agency, updates aren't just click and pray. It's just not. There's a process. And I've seen this many times play out. And again, everyone should do it this way, in my opinion, not just good agencies. Everyone should do it this way. So there's 5 steps here. I'll break them out this way. Step 1, staging environment. First, have a staging or development copy of the site. It's basically a clone of the live site. All the updates, WordPress core, themes, and plugins can happen there first. Then have a backup. Before you touch anything, make sure you have a fresh, full backup, databases and files. If something breaks, we can roll it back pretty quickly. Number 3, update and test. Then you update one thing at a time, starting with the plugins, then themes, then WordPress core, and then you can test major pages, forms, checkouts, the flow, etc. And then number 4, push to live. Once it's stable, you can push the updates to the live site, either manually or using a deployment tool. And number 5, communicate and schedule. So for client sites, it's best to do this during off-peak hours. Let them know in advance. Okay. Now, if you're a freelancer or a small shop, you can absolutely use the same process. And I did when I was by myself. I do now, even as a small agency, and we do at WebDev, very much so, because you just don't want to take down a site. Tools like Blog Vault or even the hosting company can stage websites these days. Not that hard to do a staging server, do the changes, and then deploy. So keep that in mind. Also, bottom line, never just do a blind update. Test first, backup always, have a rollback plan. I can't recommend that enough. So Amanda, great question. And I understand it's stressful, especially, you don't want to take a site down. And between now and I think we're like 80 days, about 85 days or 75 days before Christmas and Black Friday, all that stuff. So keep that in mind. You don't want to take sites down right now. That's for darn sure. Okay. Next question is by Leo. What's your advice for freelancers who want to start hiring subcontractors or grow into an agency? Ooh, this is a good one. This is fantastic. It's exciting and a terrifying time the first time you do this. I remember this very well. The biggest shift here, first and foremost, mentally, Leo, is you're going to go from solo freelancer to an agency owner. The difference is doing the work versus managing the work. It's a big transition. Now, to make this a little smoother, I have also 5 little steps here that I wrote out. First of all, start small. Don't hire a full-time person right away. Bring on a contractor for one specific task. Maybe a designer to handle layouts or a developer to handle theme builds. Test how it feels to delegate, because it does take time to learn that. I learned it the hard way a few times, but it takes time. The second thing here is to document your process and processes, like many of them, right? Have that runbook if you need to. Write down how you do things, file naming, client onboarding, communication styles, revision limits, all of it, because it becomes your internal runbook and your playbook of how you do things, right? It's a process. Number 3, build relationships, not transactions. Subcontractors become partners, not robots. The better you communicate with them and pay them on time, the more invested they're going to become in helping your clients succeed, and then you succeed. Okay. Number 4, you want to price for margin. This is one that trips up a lot of people. If you're charging $5,000 for a site and you outsource for $3,000 worth of work, you've got to build a margin for your time to manage it all. So don't shortchange yourself. Make sure you do a markup. Make sure you pay yourself as well enough to make it worth your time to manage it all. Because otherwise you're thinking, I'll just make a couple $1,000. But if you're really micromanaging, don't even micromanage. I hate the fact that I said that. Don't micromanage. Let people do their job. Okay, and then number 5, keep learning to lead. Managing people and projects is a skill. It's not one that comes really easily to many people. It can make or break your agency. There's a couple really good books out there. One of them is Company of One, so check that out. And that was gifted to me many years ago. I forgot who, one of the listeners sent that to me, and it's a great book. So remember, and also keep in mind, you don't have to build a huge agency. You can build a small, mighty, and a happy one. Grow intentionally, not reactively. I will say this from experience and memory right now, that don't waste too much time questioning whether you should hire someone, let's say, to do design. Decide immediately after the call you have with the client. If you need to find a designer, decide within that first hour. If you take too much time, you're wasting time and you're already behind the schedule. I learned that the hard way. I would wait a week or 2 and think, okay, I'll bring someone on, but then it takes time to find that person. What's their availability? How much do they cost? So you need to decide right away. So if it's something you can do, or they already have a design, great. If it's something that's outside of your scope and comfort zone, then bring someone in sooner than later. Okay. And then one of my favorite and best hires, honestly, is a really good project manager. Sally knows that. So there you go. So that's it. So again, it's all about timing, profit margin, delegation. So I hope that helps. Who said? Oh, that was Leo. That's a good question. All right. That's it. Yeah, that's it for the questions. Pretty short, this one. And now moving on to segment 3, tip and tool of the week. This one is a website I found called fla-shop.com. Found this because a friend of mine was looking for some SVGs of a USA map. And this is pretty cool. It's free from what I can see. I guess you can pay for some content within here, but if you just need a basic SVG map of states and whatnot, check it out, fla-shop.com, and I'll put a link in the show notes. So there you go. So kind of neat stuff. I was messing with that for somebody. All right, that's it this week. If you have any questions, go ahead, send it in for the next Q&A episode, adam@KitchensinkWP.com, or use that speak pipe function of the website. If you want to sponsor the show, if you want to support the show, become a Patreon, buy me a coffee, one of the two, it's all fine. If you want to sponsor the show, you can do that. There's a form, fill it out, get back to you, and we'll talk. Thanks for listening. See you next week. Now go out and do some awesome things with WordPress. All right, bye-bye.